Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let's do that again. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai. So we're just a couple of hours from the midnight hour, the auspicious time when Lord Krishna took his birth. And so we're going to hear about the incidents that happened 5,000 years ago that led up to Krishna's birth and what happened afterwards. So let's start by reciting a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is a well-known verse. It's from the prayers of Kunti Devi from the first canto, chapter 8, text 21. And it's very easy to follow. So please listen carefully. I'm going to recite line by line. I'll say a line, and then you should repeat the line, okay? Loudly, with some enthusiasm, with gusto. You ready? Krishnaya Vasudevaya, Devaki Nandanaya Cha, Nanda Gopa Kumaraya, Govindaya Namo Namaha, Krishnaya Vasudevaya, Devaki Nandanaya Cha, Nanda Gopa Kumaraya, Govindaya Namo Namaha, Krishnaya Vasudevaya, Devaki Nandanaya Cha, Nanda Gopa Kumaraya, Govindaya Namo Namaha. Thank you, that was great. So now we'll just unpack that verse a little bit. So it starts with Krishnaya. Krishnaya means unto Krishna. And of course the verse ends, the last two words are Namo Namaha, which means offer my respectful obeisances unto that person that we're naming in different names. It also means I bow to. So Kunti Devi is saying, I bow to Krishna, Krishnaya. So who is Krishna? He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Specifically, the name Krishna means all attractive. So Krishna is such a wonderful personality that he possesses everything that's attractive to anyone. So if you think of all the attractive qualities that someone might have, they may be beautiful, they may be wealthy, they may be strong, they may be super intelligent, they may be famous, and they may be very detached. So any one of those qualities in any combination are very attractive. That's what makes us like people. That's what makes us drawn to people. And so Krishna possesses all of these 6 attractive opulences in full, actually unlimitedly. So Krishna is the all-attractive personality. Everything that you're looking for in a person, you'll find in Krishna to the nth degree, to the unlimited degree. So Krishna is that person that attracts the hearts, attracts the minds of everyone. And if we're not attracted to Krishna, it's just because we don't know enough about him. So we have to hear about Krishna, learn about Krishna, get to know Krishna, because to know Krishna is to love him. It's to be irresistibly attracted to him, because that's the nature of the soul. And then comes Vasudevaya. So Vasudev means the son of Vasudev. So Krishna is the son of Vasudev, and he's also Devaki Nandanaya Cha. He's also the son of Devaki. So we'll talk a little bit about Krishna as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. So Krishna as I'm sure most of you know, his Janmashtami is there in India, in the city of Mathura. So Mathura is the place where Kamsa was the king at the time. And Kamsa was a demon. He was a demoniac king. He was a very evil person. And he was the brother of Devaki. So Devaki had just gotten married, and she was in the chariot on the way to her husband's home. And it was the custom in those days for the brother, the older brother, to accompany his younger sister to her husband's home to make her feel secure and comfortable that, you know, her brother's with her, and it gives her confidence to enter her new home with her new husband. So they were on this chariot ride, and everything was going well until there was a voice in the sky. And this voice proclaimed, "Kamsa, you're thinking everything is fine here, but you don't know that the 8th son of your sister Devaki is going to kill you." So as soon as Kamsa heard that, he became very afraid, and he thought, then she's not going to have sons. And he grabbed her by the hair, and he took his sword out of his sheath, and he was just ready to chop the head off of his sister on her wedding day. And then Vasudeva, the groom, he very quickly intervened, and he said, whoa, wait a minute here, Kamsa. Devaki's no threat to you. The voice said that it would be her 8th son. She's not going to kill you. She doesn't have any children yet. There's no danger. Just calm down a minute. Let's talk about this. And so he came to an agreement with Kamsa that as soon as any son is born, we'll deliver the newborn baby to you, and you can do whatever you want with the child. So Vasudeva was actually doing that. In due course of time, they had a baby. He, true to his word, brought it to Kamsa. And like that, one after the other, he was bringing all the children to Kamsa. And then Kamsa, as the 8th child was approaching, Kamsa was becoming worried. He was thinking, you know, Vasudeva could do anything at this point. He could get scared. He could try to hide the child. I had better keep him under my supervision. So then he took Vasudeva and Devaki and he put them in jail there in his, near his place in Mathura. So then after that, every time Devaki had a child, he would just snatch the child and kill it immediately. And he had already killed all the previous ones as well. So that happened 6 times. 6 times Devaki gave birth. 6 times Kamsa took the child and just took it by the legs and smashed its head against the stone floor. And so this was a terrible thing. And you might wonder at this point, how could Krishna allow this, right? I mean, Krishna, okay, in one sense, he's not born yet, but in another sense, he's unborn, right? He's called Aja. His name is Aja. He's unborn. He's an eternal personality. He's the supreme personality. He existed before everything, before the creation. He will exist after the destruction. He's eternally existing and eternally controlling everything. He knows everything. So he knows this is going on. He could stop it. Why doesn't he? That's a big question, right? Because it's terrible to think that your own mother would have to go through this tragedy again and again. So there's a backstory to all this. And the backstory is that these 6 sons of Devaki, in their previous life, they were grandsons of a demon, Hiranyakashipu. And those 6 children were actually demonic. They're called the Garbhasuras, the demons that come into the womb of Devaki. So as their father in the last life was Kalanemi. He was a son of Hiranyakashipu. And when Hiranyakashipu, after performing his austerities, became very powerful and took over, you know, the whole universe, then he was trying to force his grandsons, these 6 grandsons, to submit to him and serve him and assist him and support him in his, you know, leadership, his demoniac leadership of the universe. And they refused. Actually, they went and took shelter of Lord Brahma. So for that, Hiranyakashipu got very angry. And he said, I curse all of you that you'll be killed by your own father. So that didn't happen in that life, but it happened in the next life, because Kalanemi, their father, appeared again as Kamsa. And so they appeared in the womb of Devaki, and they were killed by their own father from the previous life. And they were demons, so that was part of Krishna's mission, was to kill these demons. So then one might think, well, why did Krishna arrange that his mother give birth to demons, right? That seems not very auspicious. So those 6 sons, they represent the 6 bad qualities, the 6 enemies of the conditioned soul, which are lust, anger, greed, envy, madness, illusion, yeah, I said envy, those 6. So what he's showing here is that before Krishna can appear in our lives, we need to purify our hearts of these qualities, right? If the heart is full of lust, full of greed, full of envy, full of anger, then how is Krishna going to appear there, right? Krishna wants to live in a pure place, in a clean place. And so he's showing us that if we really want Krishna to be very present, very prominent in our lives, then we need to at least try to purify ourselves, to attract him. We have to try to attract him to the pure space within our hearts. So, of course, Devaki was not contaminated in any way, but this is a lesson that we can learn, and it was a way that Krishna arranged for these demons to be killed. Later they get purified, because when Krishna is born, then he sucks milk from Devaki's breast. Later, when she requests him to bring her sons back, she brings them back. Krishna brings them back to life, and then they all come and they take milk from Devaki's breast, which is now prasadam, because it's the remnants of Krishna. And so by taking prasadam, they get purified and they become devotees and they go back to Godhead. Hari Bol. So that's the story of the 6 sons of Devaki. 7th son was actually Lord Balaram. And so Krishna arranged that Balaram, through the agency of Yogamaya, be transferred from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini in Vrindavan. So it appeared that Devaki had a miscarriage, and so Kamsa didn't worry about that. And then finally it was time for the 8th son. So when Devaki became pregnant for the 8th time, Kamsa was just completely stricken by fear. He was in so much anxiety. He couldn't eat. He couldn't sleep. He was just constantly pacing back and forth, up and down the corridors, waiting for this child to be born, thinking that I have to kill this child before he kills me, because this is the one. And so, but Kamsa was, Krishna was born in the middle of the night. So at that time, Kamsa, he was somewhere else. And when Krishna appeared to Vasudeva and Devaki, he didn't appear like a little baby, like we would expect, like all the other children did. But he appeared in the 4-armed Vishnu form, right? With his 4 arms, with conch, disc, club, and lotus flower, the 4 symbols of Lord Vishnu. He had a helmet. He had jewelry. He was fully decked out, Lord Vishnu. And this is because to fulfill the desire of Vasudeva and Devaki, because they wanted to have the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their son. And so when Krishna appeared, he showed them that I'm your son, and I'm also the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I'm here to fulfill your desires because you are my devotees. And Krishna likes to fulfill the desires of his devotees. So, but the interesting thing is that this puts Vasudeva and Devaki in a somewhat awkward situation emotionally, because on the one hand, they want to just lavish their newborn child with, all kinds of parental affection. She wants to cradle the child in her arms, but here he is as God, the Supreme Person, standing before him in all of his power and all of his glory. And so she's kind of confused. So she first starts off praying to him, like, Lord Vishnu, please protect us. We're in this very precarious situation in a prison with Kamsa. He's a demon. He could do anything at any moment. And then in the next breath, she says, Krishna, please, hide this Vishnu form, because Kamsa, he wants to kill Lord Vishnu. So if he sees that you're actually Lord Vishnu, he's going to kill you. But if you make yourself into a baby, which is what you should be, then we can hide you. We can hide you under a blanket, or we can put you under the bed, or we can just conceal you in a basket or something like that. So there's this strange dichotomy between please protect us or please let us protect you. So that's the sort of like the emotional tension in the Vasudeva and Devaki's relationship with Krishna that comes up again and again throughout his pastimes. But before Krishna takes on his baby form, he gives some instructions to Vasudeva and Devaki. He tells them, before Kamsa finds out that I'm born, you have to take me out of here. So Vasudeva, he said, how am I going to do that? We're in prison, it's locked, there are guards all over the place. My ankle is chained with iron shackles to the concrete floor here, stone floor. How is it possible? I can't go anywhere. How can I take you anywhere? And Krishna says, don't worry, Yoga Maya, my Yoga Maya potency, my internal potency is going to arrange everything. And as soon as Krishna said that, then the guards who are guarding the door, they just kind of slumped over and fell into a deep sleep. They were snoring there by the side of the gate. And the lock of the gate just kind of fell open. And also the shackles on Vasudeva's legs also just opened, and all of a sudden he was free. And so he was like, okay, this is working, let's go. So he takes Krishna, he puts him in a basket on his head, and he starts carrying him. So it's midnight, it's the middle of the night, there's a huge thunderstorm going on, there's so much rain, it's flooding the place. He has to cross the Yamuna to get from, if you ever travel from Mathura over to Vrindavan, you have to cross a bridge, you have to cross the Yamuna. So in those days, they didn't have a bridge. So he had to walk across the Yamuna, and the water was very high. So he started just walking, and it was getting up to his knees, up to his waist, up to his chest. Finally, the water of the Yamuna went up to touch Krishna's feet that were hanging a little bit out of the basket. And then as soon as the Yamuna touched Krishna's feet, Yamuna Devi became very ecstatic, very happy and satisfied, and then she just parted the waters, right? Parted the waters so that Vasudeva could walk through. So everything is going very well. He gets there, he slips into the maternity room there, and Mother Yashoda had just given birth also. And as he was instructed by Krishna, he picks up the girl child, newborn little girl that was born to Mother Yashoda. He puts Krishna in the place of that little girl, and he brings the girl back to Mathura. And as soon as he gets in there, the gate locks, the shackles bind onto him, the guards wake up, the baby cries, and Kamsa understands that the 8th child was born to Vasudeva and Devaki. So he goes running there, and he's like, now is the time, I have to get this child. But when he sees that it's a girl, he's like, what? It was said that the 8th son would kill me, but this is a girl. This is totally just like not expected. So he was very surprised, but he wasn't going to take any chances. And so, Devaki was pleading with him, please, my dear brother, how is this little baby girl going to hurt you? You're such a big, strong, brave man. You're a Kshatriya king. How can this little innocent, helpless newborn baby girl hurt you? He said, doesn't matter. And he just took the baby out of her hand, and he went to slam her down on the floor like he did the other children. But that little girl slipped out of his hands and went up into the air in the room. She's like up there in the air, and she assumes the form of Durga Devi. So Kamsa, typical of the demons, he actually worshipped Durga Devi. So as soon as he saw Durga Devi, then his mood changed, and he was, oh, worshipable goddess. But she chastises him. She says, Kamsa, you fool, you can't kill me. And you can't kill the son, the 8th son of Devaki that you are waiting for. You won't be able to kill him either. He's already taken birth, and he's somewhere else. Like that. So when she speaks to him like that, then he's like, oh no. All my plans have been foiled. All my efforts to capture this 8th child, this 8th son, have failed, and now he's just out there. He's just on the loose somewhere. He could be anywhere, and he could just kill me at any moment. So Kamsa is very much afraid. So in the meantime, in Vrindavan, there's a lot of happiness. because Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda have a son. And so in the verse that we were saying, so it was Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So not only is Krishna Vasudevaya and Devaki Nandanaya, but he's also Nanda Gopa Kumaraya. He's also the son of Nanda Maharaj. So how can he be the son of Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda and simultaneously the son of Vasudeva and Devaki? So this is a great mystery about Krishna's appearance. And the Acharyas are very emphatic, actually, that Krishna is the son of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. That is his identity, that they are his eternal parents, and he took birth to Mother Yashoda. It wasn't just a question of bringing him over and putting them there and taking the girl child who was actually Nanda and Yashoda's daughter, but Krishna is the son of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. So the Acharyas explain, this is in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on this section of the 10th canto, explain that when Krishna was born to Devaki, he was simultaneously born to Mother Yashoda. So, as you know, Krishna has this capability to expand himself, right? In so many of his pastimes, he expands into multiple forms. Like you can see here, the painting where he's dancing with the gopis in Rasa Leela. There's so many Krishnas there. There's a Krishna for every gopi. And also, when he gets married to the 16,108 queens in Dwarka, he expands himself into 16,108 Krishnas. So there are so many times when Brahma kidnaps the cowherd boys and puts them in a cave, then Krishna expands himself into all the cowherd boys and all the calves. So this is very easy for Krishna. We were just hearing the other day, Mathuranath Prabhu was talking about how the gopis were wrestling with Krishna, and Krishna expanded himself into as many forms as there were gopis to individually wrestle with each one of them. So this is an ongoing, repeating feature of Krishna's pastimes, that he expands himself. So in this case, he expanded himself, and he became the son of Devaki and also the son of Mother Yashoda. So then what happened when Vasudeva brought Devaki's son over to Vrindavan? There was already a boy there, right? Because he was simultaneously born to Devaki. But Devaki didn't see, Vasudeva didn't see the other boy there. He saw only the girl. He was very focused because he was told, just take the girl and swap them and come back. So he wasn't looking around. He wasn't, oh, this is a nice room. What else is here? He wasn't looking. He was just focused. Girl child, there she is. I'm taking her. So, and also Mother Yashoda didn't even know that she had given birth to 2 children because she was so tired was one reason. Prabhupada says that she was very tired. She was so tired that she didn't even know if she had given birth to a boy or a girl. That's very tired. And the other thing is that Krishna wasn't born the normal way. So she didn't feel him taking birth because he was born from her mind. He just came out of her heart. Because Krishna's in the heart of Mother Yashoda, and so if he's in the heart, he can come out of the heart. So he just, by his mystic potency, he just appeared out of her heart as the baby who is her eternal son. He manifested there like that. So then when Vasudeva came, he came with a baby born to Devaki, and when he put that boy down on the Mother Yashoda's bed, then he merged into the Krishna that was born to Yashoda. So then we end up with only one Krishna, which is a combination of Vasudeva Krishna and Nandanandana Krishna. And this Nandanandana Krishna is actually the original form of Krishna with all the potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the transcendental qualities. Because we see that Krishna in Vrindavan, he exhibits special qualities that he doesn't exhibit anywhere else. And the qualities of Krishna are not possessed by any other of the incarnations. Right? In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami lists 64 transcendental attributes of Krishna. And he says that other incarnations may have up to 60 of those qualities. But there are 4 qualities that only Krishna has, no other incarnation has. And those are that he has his beauty exceeds that of any other personality anywhere in the spiritual material worlds. 2 is that he captures the minds of everyone by playing on his flute. The 3rd is that he performs exquisitely wonderful pastimes that are not demonstrated by any other incarnation. And the 4th is that he's always surrounded by by devotees who are imbued with unprecedented transcendental love for him. So these 4 qualities we don't see even in Krishna outside of Vrindavan. Right? Outside of Vrindavan, Krishna is not playing his flute. He only plays the flute in Vrindavan. And outside of Vrindavan, Krishna doesn't have the full range of relationships with loving devotees that he has in Vrindavan. He's a little restricted. In Vrindavan, there are no restrictions. Anything goes. In Vrindavan, his pastimes are so wonderful. Right? He does so many wonderful things that he can't do outside of Vrindavan. So in Vrindavan, Krishna has this transcendental freedom to just be completely himself. Everything that happens in Vrindavan is just motivated by pure love. There are no formalities, there are no rules, there are no restrictions. In fact, Vrindavan is a place where Krishna breaks all the rules. He ignores all the formalities. All the social etiquette he throws out the window and he does what he wants. That's where he's fully the supreme enjoyer. So this Vrindavan Krishna that was born to Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda is the original supreme personality of Godhead with all of his potencies, with all of his qualities. And the Krishna that was born to Vasudeva and Devaki is actually an expansion of that Nanda Nandana, Yashoda Nandana Krishna called Vasudeva Krishna, who enacts the Dwarka Lila and Mathura Lila, Kurukshetra Lila, like that. Because Nanda Nandana Krishna, Yashoda Nandana Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Right? It's said that Krishna does not take one single step outside of Vrindavan. So whenever he has to go somewhere, like Dwarka or Mathura, to kill demons, then that Vasudeva Krishna that merged together with him on that day of his birth separates from him, and at the boundary of Vrindavan, Krishna, Yashoda's son Krishna, stays back in his unmanifested form, and Krishna, Vasudeva Krishna, goes ahead and kills the demons and deals with all these things, being the king of Dwarka and fighting battles, and Battle of Kurukshetra and all that. So it's Krishna and Krishna in slightly different features. So there's a wonderful thing about Krishna's personality is that he has all these features, and every one of his features is exhibited for the sake of relishing some transcendental loving exchange with his devotees. But something that we learn about Vasudeva Krishna, because he exhibits this Vishnu feature, is that Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Because we don't see any Vishnu incarnation or any other incarnation exhibiting the form of Krishna, right? There's no pastime where Lord Nrsingadev reveals a Tribhanga form playing the flute with a peacock feather. There's no pastime where any incarnation, where any Vishnu form reveals that he is somehow or other Krishna from Vrindavan. Not possible. But Krishna can reveal any form, any feature. He can reveal that he's Lord Vishnu, he can reveal that he's Lord Nrsingadev, he can reveal that he's Vamanadev, or any other form. And we see this in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, because actually there are 2 forms of Krishna that are actually Krishna, that are actually equal, fully potent as Krishna. And one is Lord Chaitanya, because Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself. Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. And the other form is the holy name, Krishna's holy name. So Krishna's holy name is imbued with all the transcendental potencies of Krishna, right? Lord Chaitanya composed this beautiful prayer, Shikshastika, where he says, Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tetrarpita Niyamata Smarane Nakala Etajashita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaivam Iddisham Ihajini Nanuraga. He says, Oh my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction upon living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all of your transcendental energies, They're not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. My Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. So the holy name has all the potencies of Krishna. All the transcendental energies are in the name. And that's why we emphasize so much the holy name of Krishna, chanting the holy name of Krishna. And so today you've all been sitting here and you've been hearing the holy name, chanting the holy name, and experiencing, to the extent that we're qualified, a glimpse of Krishna in the form of his holy name. And the more we go on chanting it, purifying our hearts, the more and more Krishna will reveal himself, all of his transcendental qualities, all of his potencies, all of his pastimes in his holy names. So we need to keep chanting the holy names and have full faith that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's not that he's an incarnation of Lord Vishnu. If you look it up in an encyclopedia or Google it or something, who is Krishna? They'll all say he's an incarnation of Vishnu. But that's not true. It's the other way around. Vishnu is an incarnation of Krishna. So we have to be very secure about that Krishna is it. He is the original God from whom all other incarnations emanate, right? Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. That Krishna is the origin of everything and he has no origin. He is the beginning. And also he's the Sarva Karana Karanam. He's the supreme cause of all causes. And he is the Ishvara Parama. Ishvara Parama Krishna means that he is the Parama. He is the supreme. Out of all the controllers, he's the supreme controller. And all the other incarnations just emanate. They're just expansions from him, or plenary expansions, or portions of expansions of him. Right? That ete chamsa kala pumsam krishnastu bhagavan swayam. All the incarnations are just kala. They're just parts of him, plenary expansions or portions of the plenary portions. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Ramadi Murti Shukala Niyamena Tishtam. Same thing, that Ram, etc. Ram, Nrsimha, Vamana, Matsya, Kurma, Vishnu, Narayan, they're all just expansions from Krishna. So all the scriptures confirm this fact. So when we're worshipping Krishna, understand that we are worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he appears in Vrindavan. Vrindavan Krishna is the highest transcendental form of Krishna. And so while Vasudeva and Devaki are having to deal with the aftermath of, Kamsa's frustration at not being able to kill Krishna and still being in fear and sending out these horrific edicts to kill all the babies and, all around the area. In Vrindavan, there's a great celebration. There's a huge celebration because Nanda and Yashoda had a child. They had this beautiful baby boy. And, they had been hankering to have a child for a long time. After all, Nanda Maharaj is the king of the cowherd people. And he was getting older. They were not young. They were not a young couple. They were like getting a little up in age. Nanda Maharaj was already starting to get some gray hairs in his beard. And so they were thinking, are we ever going to have a son? Are we ever going to have a son? So when they finally had a son, it was a huge cause of celebration for the whole cowherd community there in Vrindavan. And so when the news got out that Krishna was born, then everybody just prepared themselves for a celebration. Nanda Maharaj said, we are going to have a celebration. So I'm going to describe to you a little bit the festivities that happened in Krishna's birth, and this will give you a little bit of a taste for the mood of Vrindavan, because the mood of Vrindavan is very sweet, very wonderful, and very attractive. It's like the place that you just want to go. When you hear, the more you hear about Vrindavan, the more you just take me there. Just take me there. Whenever you're ready, Krishna, I'm ready to go. So when the cowherd men heard the announcement that the son was born, then they decided that we're not going to take the cows out to pasture today. We're going to take the day off, and we're all going to Nanda Maharaj's place. So they dressed up all the cows, and every villager, all the Brajbasis, they all had, hundreds and thousands of cows. So they got their cows ready. They dressed them up with silks, with necklaces. They themselves got all dressed up in their best finery. The women were dressed to the hilt. And they all went over to Nanda Maharaj's house. And Nanda Maharaj, he had made so many arrangements already. He had called musicians. He had called dancers. He had called Brahmins to recite auspicious Vedic hymns, and bards to recite various kinds of poetry. There were historians who were narrating the history of the dynasty, the history of kings. So there were so many activities going on, kind of like out here in the Kalachandji Park right now, or I was still going on, but last time I was out there, so many things happening simultaneously, right? There's music, there's dramas, there's recitation of pastimes, there's all kinds of food, there's kids' activities, there's, face painting, all these things. So Nanda Maharaj was having a festivity like that. So many things happening simultaneously, and everybody went there. So of course they went there to celebrate the birth of the child, but because he was just born, they couldn't bring him out. It was too soon. He was too delicate. And also the culture was, in those days, the culture was that the child would stay, in the maternity room until a certain number of days, like at least 11 days before they would bring him out to public view. So he was in the maternity room with Mother Yashoda, and of course, only the women could go in. The men couldn't go into the maternity room. So all the cowherd men were going there, and they were outside talking to Nanda Maharaj and enjoying the festivities like that. And the women were going in. So all the cowherd women, along with their daughters, they came and they brought gifts for Krishna. Of course, they're bringing jewelry and fine cloth. And they brought, was the culture that when a baby was born, you would get liquid turmeric, like turmeric juice, and different essential oils, because they all have, antiseptic qualities and, healing properties. Because when a baby's born, it's a delicate situation. You're worried about the protection. You're worried about the health of the baby. So they were applying these, turmeric and essential oils and, sort of healing cosmetics and things like that to Krishna. And also, when the cowherd men came, they also brought gifts, even though they couldn't go in, but they brought so many things. So because they're all cowherd people, then the gifts that they brought were all what they had, which is basically milk, yogurt, butter, ghee, like that, all these dairy products, pots and pots and pots of them. And every family brought so many pots of these things. So there were hundreds and thousands of pots of milk, yogurt, butter, and ghee that they were just putting there in a place. And all the men and the boys were out there, talking amongst themselves, while the women were in the maternity ward, looking at Krishna and applying things on him. So when the women came out, they came out with the remnants, right, of the things that they had offered to Krishna. So just like we offer the water to Krishna during Arti, and then after it gets distributed to the devotees, you sprinkle a little bit on everybody's head. So they were offering these oils and turmeric juice and things, and then they came out, whatever was left over, they started sprinkling. They were just putting in the palm and throwing, on the head of all the men and the boys that weren't able to go in and get it on the inside. And so when those substances that had bathed baby Krishna landed on the heads of the cowherd people, then they were getting ecstatic. The women were already ecstatic because they just had a darshan of baby Krishna. So they came out just like, in exhibiting all, symptoms of sattvika bhava, trembling and tears from the eyes and like that. And then when they took those substances and they were throwing them on their husbands and sons, then the men were also getting ecstatic. And then they just happened to notice, they looked and they saw these pots and the women were throwing things, and they thought, they got fired up and enthused to throw things, so they started getting the handfuls of butter and throwing it, and throwing yogurt and smearing the butter on each other's faces, and ended up basically being this big, huge food fight, the celebration of Krishna's birth. And, a few of them started it, and then, hey, you just got me with yogurt, and then he got a handful of butter smeared like that. It was kind of like a holy festival, but with all these dairy products. And there was so much milk and things. They'd come and just dump a pot of milk on someone's head and abhishek, right? Everyone was doing abhishek, like a pancha gavya abhishek on each other. And it's described that there's so much milk and yogurt and things that was going onto the ground that it was making like a stream. And it was forming this stream was flowing all the way down to the Yamuna. And then the Yamuna was turning white from all the milk and yogurt that was flowing into it. And it continued flowing on down river. And anybody that was down, even miles down the river, they would go down there and who were, collecting water or bathing or whatever, as soon as they touched that water, they were also becoming ecstatic. So this is the way the Brajabasis celebrate. Is big time with dairy products and just a lot of fun, just spontaneous. This is a mood of Vraj. Spontaneous love, spontaneous joy. And this is the nature of Krishna consciousness, that when we become Krishna conscious, when Krishna appears in our hearts, when Krishna is present in our lives, then we also become joyful. And that joy spreads, right? It's contagious. Just like the cowherd women, they came out very blissful, and as soon as they started interacting with others, they also became blissful, and then the bliss just spread, and it flowed downstream into the transcendental Yamuna River, and everyone who touched it became blissful. So like that, when we come to Krishna, and Krishna comes to us, it brings so much joy to our lives that we want to share it. We want to go out and share it with others. And this is Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement, right? It's sharing the love. Lord Chaitanya broke open the storehouse of love of God, and he distributed the contents. And he asked us also to take this gift of love of God and give it to others and share it in the form of the holy name, in the form of the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, prasadam, transcendental books, different processes of devotional service, hearing about Krishna, chanting about Krishna, remembering Krishna, worshipping the deity, all these processes that we're being asked to share. So, Krishna consciousness is just very wonderful, and it gets better the longer that we practice. So you're all very fortunate to have come here today to be able to get a little glimpse of the spiritual world, to be able to chant Krishna's names, take Krishna's prasadam, see Krishna's deity form, hear about Krishna's appearance, and to relish, the activities of the spiritual world. Because you see, this is what they do, right? We just watched the bathing of Krishna. What were they bathing him with? Milk, yogurt, ghee, right? All these same items that the Brajabasis used to bathe Krishna, to bathe each other, offering so many things, gifts, flowers. Also during that celebration of Krishna's birth, Nanda Maharaj was giving so much charity. So Nanda Maharaj was, usually when the cowherd men would give charity, they would give cows. So he was giving so many cows away. Actually, this celebration of Krishna's birth, it wasn't celebrated just in Vrindavan, but it was celebrated all over. Even the demigods in the higher planets were celebrating this festival. They were showering flowers, they were playing their musical instruments, they were singing so many songs, so many glorifications. And some of the demigods actually came down. They disguised themselves as cowherd men, as cowherd women, and they took part in the festivities. And so one point that's funny is that Nanda Maharaj was giving so many cows away that Lord Shiva was there, and Lord Shiva, his carrier is a bull, right? Nandi the bull. So when Lord Shiva saw that Nanda Maharaj was giving so many cows away, he started holding on to the tail of Nandi, thinking that, oh no, he's going to give away my bull, and then what am I going to do? I won't be able to get home. So it just shows how Nanda Maharaj was just so just giving, just anything. Like at first he was giving cows. By the end of the ceremony, he was just telling people, whatever you want, just take it. Whatever you want, just take it. Because he was so happy, so fulfilled, having Krishna in his family. Everything was perfect. and complete, no need for anything else. So we can also experience that in Krishna consciousness, that when we have Krishna in our lives, then there's no need for anything else, right? All the material desires just fade away. It's like, what else could I want? What else do I need? I have Krishna. Krishna's complete. Krishna's perfect. Krishna's unlimited. Krishna's everything. You know, he's everything is just expansions of him or expansions of his energies. And so if you have Krishna, you have everything. And that's what we're looking for, right? There was one theologian. His name was Pascal. He's also a mathematician, Blaise Pascal. And one time he said that within every person, there is a God-shaped vacuum. There's an empty space that's the shape of God in our hearts. And that's why we go through life feeling so empty, because we have this huge, what is God's shape? It's unlimited. So we have this unlimited vacuum, this unlimited space, like a bottomless pit in our hearts. And so we're never satisfied. And so we keep trying to put things in it, right? Let me buy this thing, that thing, the next thing, the latest thing, you know. But no matter how many things we buy, no matter how many relationships we go through, no matter how many hobbies we take up or whatever, we're never satisfied. It's never enough, because that space is unlimited, and in the material world, everything is limited. So it's never going to fill it up. So it's only when we put Krishna in our hearts, then that unlimited space is going to be filled by unlimited Krishna. And then we'll realize that we didn't need any of those things, and we don't really need anything else, because we're completely satisfied. And that's how so many of our acharyas, you know, like the 6 Goswamis, they were able to just renounce everything. You know, they were millionaires. They were like billionaires. They were the richest people on the planet. And it says, Tyaktva Turnam Ashesha Mangalam. They just gave up everything. They gave up everything, and they just put on, you know, loincloths and a little, you know, like torn cloth around their waist, and they were living like mendicants there in Vrindavan, eating only a palm full of buttermilk every second day, or hardly sleeping, and just fully engaging themselves in hearing about Krishna, chanting about Krishna, studying the scriptures, extracting the essence of the scriptures, and giving that to us so that we can understand the path of bhakti, so that we can follow in their footsteps and experience the satisfaction that they're feeling in spiritual life. So they were able to give up all that because they had Krishna. And when you have Krishna, you have everything. And when you have everything, nothing's lacking. You don't need anything else. So we can see this in the Brajbasis, right? That it's all about Krishna, just Krishna. They don't want anything about Krishna. And when Krishna's not there, nothing else can make them happy. And when Krishna's there, there's nothing else to be desired. So like that, we're very fortunate that we have the opportunity to have a relationship with Krishna, to invite Krishna to appear within our hearts. So that's what we're celebrating, is Krishna appeared in this world. Why did he appear? He appeared for us. He appeared just to save us, basically, just to help us, right? It says, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. He came to deliver the pious, to annihilate the miscreants, and to reestablish the principles of religion, and to exhibit his pastimes, to exhibit his wonderful Vrindavan Leela, to attract our hearts, to attract our minds, to convince us to turn away from the so-called pleasures of this world, the things that glitter but are just fool's gold. To encourage us to stop being fools, stop being foolish people, you know, searching for and working for and fighting over fool's gold, when you can have the real thing, when you can have the truly valuable thing in life, which is the relationship with Krishna, which is the relationship with that perfect person, all attractive qualities, all attractive form, all attractive pastimes. So we just need to go on hearing about Krishna and turning our attention to him. And where our attention goes, then our energy flows. And then the more energy flows towards Krishna, the more the flow of our energy will connect with the flow of Krishna's energy, and they'll merge together, just like that all those milk and yogurt and dairy products merged with the Yamuna and created this flow of transcendental bliss that affected everybody who came in contact with it. So let me just stop. We have 5 minutes. If anyone has any questions or comments. Just raise your hand. We have a little floating mic here that can come around. No? That means you understood everything or you didn't understand anything. Okay. All right, well, thank you for your attention. And thank you for being here and for being such a good, attentive audience. I was seeing that you... Oh, there's a question over there. Good. It's not complete without one question.
Thank you, Prabhupada Priya. Wonderful class. I'm curious for the rest of the night, you know, some of us are going till 4 a.m. tomorrow and then straight into Prabhupada's wonderful appearance day as well. What is a good mood to have, something to keep bringing us back to for the rest of this time, for the rest of this festival? Like something to keep our minds back on that, you know?
Yeah, just remember that Jivera Swarupa Hoy Krishnara Nityadas, that we are eternally the servants of Krishna. And so this day we're dedicating in the service of Krishna. Even if we can't dedicate every minute of every day to Krishna, at least this one day a year, let me just dedicate this to you, Krishna. That everything that I do is for your pleasure. And I'm here for you, right? It's your birthday. I've come to your birthday party, and I want to celebrate this with you. So I'm here for the whole thing. I'm going to be the first to come and the last to leave. And that's a true friend, right? When it's your birthday, you're having some function at your house. It's your best friend who comes early, right? Helps with the setup, makes sure everything's okay. They stay through the whole thing, and they're the last one to go. So by staying till the end, we show Krishna that I'm here for you. I'm your friend. I want to be your friend again. So many lifetimes I've forgotten you, but this lifetime I want to show you that I want to share my life with you. Okay? Yes. Sure. Just talking to the mic, please.
Hare Krishna, everybody. I had a question regarding, I was stuck in such a dilemma while I was reading Bhagavad Gita as it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be me misinterpreting the scripture itself, but I would just like you to kind of clarify it for me, I guess. Over here it says, let me give... it talks about womanhood on page 57 here. And it says that... according to Pandita, women are generally not very intelligent and therefore not trustworthy. So the different family traditions of religious activities should always engage them, and thus their chastity and devotions will give birth to a good population eligible for participating in the Varnas Rama system. So I guess this could be misinterpreted in many ways, but I would like to ask you exactly what it actually means, because is it a positive thing or a negative? I'm just kind of stuck in a dilemma, as you can see here.
So the main point there is that women need to be protected, right? Because women are the weaker sex, physically weaker, and so women are vulnerable, right? And naturally men are attracted to women. So it's a little bit of a dangerous situation where you have someone who's, physically stronger, who's attracted to someone who's, may want to try to take advantage of somebody who's physically weaker and is capable of taking advantage of that person. So the vulnerable person needs to be protected. That's what Prabhupada's saying. So the situation there is battlefield of Kurukshetra, where Arjuna didn't want to fight, and his concern was that, well, if I fight, we're going to kill all of these men on the battlefield, and then their wives, their sisters, their daughters are not going to be protected because the man is gone. So Prabhupada's making the point that this is actually a valid point. This is a valid concern because women need to be protected. Otherwise, he says unscrupulous men will take advantage of them, and then there'll be problems in society because there'll be unwanted children that won't be raised properly, and the religious activities won't be performed because it's women who basically teach the children, pass on the traditions, who really kind of oversee the culture, the family culture, and make sure those things are passed on, right? It's the grandmother who's teaching the granddaughters and the grandchildren how to do things, the family values, the traditions, the cultures, the festivals, and all of those things. So if the women aren't there, then who's going to do that? All the family traditions and values are going to be lost. So as a social concern. Also the point about women being less intelligent is that in general, and this doesn't apply to every woman because we're individuals, but women tend to be, there's different kinds of intelligence, right? There's a rational, analytical intelligence, and then there's emotional intelligence. So the kind of intelligence that is speaking about is the rational kind of intelligence that's very like analytical, the discernment and all that. So women tend to be, for the most part, have a higher emotional intelligence, but maybe not so much rational intelligence. So that's why men and women are a good balance, because the man can, be rational, while the woman may be a little over-emotional sometimes. But the woman can also complement the man. He's too rational, and he's not seeing, that people's feelings are getting hurt, and we need to consider, the emotions also. And so they balance each other out. So, So basically, it's kind of apples and oranges, right? if you say that women are not so rationally intelligent, it's not an insult. It's not a put down. It's just, they're different. Women and men and women are different. I think everybody agrees on that, right? So, So it's not a put down. It's just the point that women do need to be protected, and so marriage was something very strongly advocated in the Vedic culture, that a girl would be protected by her father in her young age, by her husband in marriage, and then later a grown-up son would be there to help her out in times of need. So these are some elements of Vedic culture. Yeah, but nothing derogatory. It's just understanding the different natures and accommodating for them and making sure that everybody's taken care of. Okay?
So maybe not intelligent means naive, because it is said that women tend to get involved in somebody's talk. They don't use much of their mind. Somebody is like, "Oh, I love you," they'll be like, "Yeah."
Yeah, it's like, when a man comes and flatters a woman and tells her she's beautiful and she's so intelligent, she's so smart, and he loves her, then generally women will believe that kind of stuff. So that's not very intelligent, because usually the men are lying. Yeah, so men take advantage of women's trusting nature, right? Women are very trusting by nature. And that's a nice thing. It's actually a nice thing. The problem is that the men misuse it. So the problem is not the women, the problem is the men. But the men have this weakness that enables, bad men to take advantage of them. So therefore there has to be some, cultural arrangements to protect women. Yeah. One time my husband told me, he said, you don't know how men think. I know how they think. If you knew how they think, you would never talk to a man. Anyways. So, yeah, women need to be protected. Of course, devotees are different, hopefully. And Prabhupada said that. He said any of these statements about women, Prabhupada said, that's about ordinary women. But when a woman becomes a Vaishnavi, when she becomes a devotee, that situation is different. Then she's the most intelligent. Because in Bhagavatam it says, Krishna Varna Tusha Krishna Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti Hi Sumeda Saha. That a person who's endowed with sufficient intelligence, who is Sumeda Saha, who has very good intelligence, will worship Lord Chaitanya in this age by chanting the holy names of the Lord. So anybody who takes to this process of Bhakti Yoga, chanting the holy names, worshipping Sri Sri Gauranitai, Radha Krishna, they're the most intelligent. Whether they're male, female, non-binary, whatever, it doesn't matter. They're the most intelligent. So everyone sitting in this room is most intelligent, because out of all the things that you could be doing tonight, you're here with Krishna. You're here to please Krishna, to serve Krishna, to be together in the association of devotees to advance your Krishna consciousness. So I feel very honored to be in such exalted, intelligent association here. And we're way over time, so I'm going to wrap this up. And thank you very much for your questions, for your attention, and for being here. Hare Krishna.